Podcast Network Asia.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, a.k.a. Austin Creed.
Welcome to the big time!
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar.
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles, and you are listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You're watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Romoran, and Emil ASH checking in on a very busy and wet Thursday evening. Hope everybody is safe, that you're dry, that the earthquake didn't traumatize you too much. I am from a household where our two puppers did not make a sound at all kasi tulog sila through the earthquake. So that's pretty rare. Nayanig bang mga mundo nyo this morning?
Yeah. Like I was telling Emil before we started recording, the scary part isn't the shaking, because the shaking was kind of weak. The scary part was mostly the how long it was shaking, because like too long, and that's gonna damage the buildings eventually, diba? So the fact that it hadn't stopped yet after like 30 seconds was kind of scary, but it eventually did. And I just wanted to shout out Android for actually notifying me of the earthquake before the shaking happened. So that was pretty cool. And as usual, yung NDRMC, it was like 5 minutes late and just bothered everyone when it came.
Thanks, ha. Alam na po namin. Thank you. All right, let's get some plugs out before we get to tonight's live stream. First off, we've got a lot of content coming out this week. We published part 1 of our interview with Paul London and Carlo Cannon. That one's a very, very insightful episode, so we hope that you get to check it out, especially if you have plans of getting in the business or if you're already in the business in some way, shape, or form. Marami kang matututunan. In my case, some of my rose-colored glasses were kind of smashed and shattered, even though, I have been doing this alongside Ro for quite some time. So go check that out. Part 2 should drop on your Spotify feeds, if not tomorrow, then on Saturday. We've also got a couple of big events coming up, starting with the Forbidden Door Watch Party, which is happening in a couple of weeks. And you can be part of that by subscribing to our Wrestling Podcast Patreon community.
All right, so if you want to be a part of the Forbidden Door Watch Party, all you got to do is subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast, where you can subscribe for as low as $5 or in all local currencies around 275 to 280 pesos. So like we said, you'll get to join our watch party on Discord. And you can also interact with us on the Discord server. Talk to us about anything, wrestling, food, fashion, memes, of course, we got wrestling. And also, we have the Pasabays, which if you want to get your authentic wrestling merch the next time we do it, you can get it through us. And you also get to enjoy the review content of the weekly wrestling shows like Raw, SmackDown, NXT Dynamite, and probably soon Collision. And some local wrestling reviews as well, courtesy of Rowan ASH. And by subscribing to our Patreon, you're supporting everything that we do here on the pod. So again, please subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast.
All right. Thank you for that, Emil ASH. We also got to congratulate Ro, by the way, as everybody's doing in the comment section. Congrats, Ro, on the first episode of Unmasked. I actually checked it out this morning, and it's a lot of fun hearing things from your perspective.
Oh, thank you. We have a lot of episodes in the can, so I'm actually pretty excited. And we have, after the first episode, we have 5 more episodes waiting for you to listen to. It covers that's just the year where we only did we started by doing
This is bad. It's literally staccato, brother. It's literally staccato here. So we're gonna give Rose some time to fix things up on his end. We've also got some stuff coming on the WWE side of things on the Wrestling Podcast Patreon community. So please, if you miss the good old days of watching stuff prior to these abrupt and awkward commercial breaks, then you might want to check out what we have to offer in the Wrestling Podcast Patreon community. And unlike before, you actually get charged now on the day that you sign up. So you don't need to stress over getting charged today and then getting charged again on July 1. So again, as Emil said, just hit us up on patreon.com/wrestling podcast if you want to sign up for our Patreon community for as low as $5 or 250 pesos a month. Batiin din natin si Julian, who's actually back on the Facebook stream. Appreciate you being
Hey,
back, Julian.
Hello.
All right. We got a lot to talk about. So let's start off with the ladies. We've got new women's championships for both Raw and SmackDown. And this is something we've been talking about for quite some time. And we found out over the weekend that Asuka and her Raw Women's Championship, it's been replaced with the WWE Women's Championship. So it clearly looks like the undisputed championship that Roman Reigns has. And in fact, the word undisputed is actually on this championship. And then Rhea Ripley on Raw, she actually opened the show and she was presented with the Women's World Championship. So yung dating SmackDown Women's title now resembles Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship. So just a quick look among the two belts, people in the chat, let us know which one you prefer. And even with the names, kasi ang daming discourse over on Twitter where people are talking about what they think about the names. So while you do that, while you type in your comments in the chat, Emil, let me know, which of the championships do you prefer?
For me, I prefer the Women's World Championship that Rhea Ripley holds kasi I just like it. I just like the design better, and I think I already alluded to this last week. Yung pagka-gold niya was much better than the women's championship or the undisputed championship that Roman holds. Kasi this one is much more gold while the other one looks kind of dark yellowish. And although I do like the white straps on both of the titles, they blend much better than the black straps. So yun na yung sinasabi kong the color combination last week was kind of off, but this one with the white straps is a whole lot better.
Yeah, it really looks like a female version, diba, of the men's championships because of the white strap, which I guess was the goal, the intention, diba, even when they introduced the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships back in 2016. Looking at the titles, for me, you know how much of a soft spot I have for the big gold belt. So the fact that Rhea's resembles the big gold belt, my brownie points na rin yun sa akin. So yeah, there's some discourse on Twitter about the name, no? Because Asuka, her championship says undisputed, whereas Rhea Ripley's is just the Women's World Championship, and I guess I can get how it can be confusing. So Emil, what do you think about this? Na si Asuka, she's the WWE Women's Champion, and then you have Rhea Ripley, who is the Women's World Champion. Like, is that enough of a distinction for you for the two titles, apart from the fact that they look vastly different from one another?
I think yes, naman. Like it's the other one is called the World Championship, and the other one is called the WWE Championship. So just like the old days, like it can be confusing, but I do get the difference of both titles. And even though yung undisputed kasi na yun, yung nakalagay sa belt, like they really just copy pasted from the men's title, and it's not really much of a hassle for me.
Yeah, let's address another elephant in the room here that Leo brought up. Charlotte Flair made her return on SmackDown, and we haven't seen her since WrestleMania. That's still from Asuka's actually the moment when Charlotte's music hit. So what do you guys think of Charlotte being back here? Sige, Emil muna while Ro tries to figure out the tech stuff on his end.
I am okay, so she's back, right? Pero why does she get a title shot immediately?
Well, she lost the championship to Rhea no WrestleMania.
Okay, pero it's the old fashioned. It's why people really soured on Charlotte Flair, because she gets title opportunities after title opportunities. For me, may case pa si Bianca to challenge Asuka for the title than Charlotte. I mean, right now. So, like, Charlotte can always challenge the title in the future, but not right after just she came back.
Yeah, I don't know. Si Rhea kasi is already on Raw, 'di ba? So technically Charlotte could make a case na there was nothing she could do about it. She was drafted to SmackDown. Asuka's the women's champion on SmackDown. So if there's a rematch clause to be had and she wants to respect yung nangyari sa draft, 'di ba? Which is something that you guys have also talked about in the week since the draft, then it does make sense na Charlotte would still go after whoever's the women's champion on SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly. Pero yun talaga, yun talaga yung problem ko kay Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm. Ito si Glendale, he's asking, can't they just book Charlotte in a storyline outside the title picture? I'm going to argue that they really can't because that's the elephant in the room. Charlotte, the last time we saw her, she walked in as champion and walked out without a title. Therefore, she kind of is entitled to a rematch clause, even though it's a different champion on SmackDown now.
Yeah, I guess you have a point there. You have a point there, naman. So, I just hate the fact that they just simply inserted and not hindi yung they just tease it first and then they'll announce the match and then they announce na Asuka and Charlotte are battling for the women's championship at this pay-per-view. So yun lang.
Here's something that I want you guys to consider. All of you who are complaining about Charlotte already being in a championship storyline, you guys are pissed off, and the Bianca Belair character is also pissed off. And with the rumors of her supposedly turning heel down the road, then it could very well lead to Bianca's frustrations boiling over, and that heel turn that some people feel Bianca would need to refresh her character. Baka plot device lang tong pag-challenge ni Charlotte ulit.
Yeah, definitely. This they're setting this up for a Bianca heel turn down the line. So she's probably gonna feud with Charlotte, and that can be your non-title feud. So so there you go. If you want Charlotte to be in a non-title feud, just have Bianca go after her, and say and the feud will start because Bianca feels that was her title shot.
Yeah, diba? Maybe if Bianca gets pissed off enough, she could go after Charlotte by like, paano the line starts with you, diba? How are you the line? Or they can make a story about that or something. But given how fans behave, given how you guys are reacting right now, you guys might actually make heel Bianca act like Becky in 2018 when she turned heel against Charlotte. So I guess if I'm the one writing the story, it would be up to me to really make sure that when Bianca attacks someone and turns heel, it has to be in such a reprehensible way na hindi mo siya ma-defend, di ba?
Yeah, exactly. Yun yung actually I was thinking about that. That's one of my worries na if Bianca turns heel on Charlotte, that the fans might not react to it accordingly because Bianca is going to be the heel here and Charlotte's going to be the face. But knowing the crowd's reception to Charlotte before, people might actually cheer Bianca than Charlotte.
At the very least, it will give Bianca an edge as a character, which is something na could refresh anyone, diba? What's up, JK? Thanks for joining us in the comments, my dude. Let's get to our next point here. Sticking with Raw, you've got a new challenger for Seth freaking Rollins, and that is Finn Balor. And itong promo battle nila this week draws on their history. And Ro put in his Raw review on Patreon that Finn Balor came across as both a babyface and a heel here when drawing upon what he went through after Seth Rollins had given him the buckle bomb nung SummerSlam in 2016, that injury that took him out for about a year, and how it supposedly derailed this very promising main roster run that everybody had expected out of Finn Balor. Did you see that as well?
Yeah, kasi actually, when I listened to that promo, parang justified naman si Finn eh. Like, that's really how it happened. It all started during that match when Seth injured Finn Balor, and he was the first Universal champion.
We're not saying that Seth injured Finn deliberately.
No.
So when Finn got injured because of the buckle bomb.
Buckle bomb, yeah. So
ingat ka, wag ka mga akusa ng di oras.
Yeah. Sorry about that one. That was on me. But when Finn got injured at SummerSlam and he was the champion, he was supposed to have this long title reign. That was derailed. And so gets ko yung hugot ni Balor do sa promo, and it made him look kind of sympathetic, even though he was the heel in this feud.
Ang maganda rito is that he also comes across as really bitter. And even though you want to get behind the Balor character, you understand what he went through. The fact that he's being a bitter dick about it, diba, it gives Seth the ammunition to say na, yeah, and look at you, diba? Ano nangyari sa'yo? Bakit ganyan ka? Eh, kaya you're a shell of the Finn Balor from 2016, which I thought was good writing on their part, diba? When they were putting the promo together. So ito yung sinasabi ko na ba na a match is a promo is a match, which I got from reading yung mga Dusty Rhodes books and wrestling memoirs in the past. And Finn and Seth really showed us that here in this exchange. And what I love about Seth is that he's really just taking on all comers, and it's setting Seth up to be this really strong fighting champion. And you know, he's got challengers coming left and right. Diba? You've got Braun Breaker from NXT, you've got Finn Balor, presumably at Money in the Bank, and now they're also simultaneously writing another story na parallel dito, which is the tension between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. So, diba, you notice the way that they would look at each other in their backstage segments, yung mga interactions nila, and then deliberate din yung pakita nila sa atin na nag-uusap sina Finn and JD McDonough in the back, and then Damian Priest would cut in. So what do you think about them basically showing us where we're gonna go from here?
So when you watch the last couple of weeks of Raw, parang nagiging obvious na tuloy na there's gonna be a turn happening. So
but is that bad? No.
Nah, it's not bad kasi that has been the elephant in the room even before. Like, who is really the guy in Judgment Day? Is it Finn or is it Damian? So now they're actually addressing it in a way that keeps the viewers hooked to see if a turn is gonna happen, or maybe someone will get kicked out, or maybe this is a swerve after all, and they won't break up. So for parang naging interesting bigla yung other members of the Judgment Day other than just Rhea and Dom.
Yeah, what I like about this is that it really shows us that Monday Night Raw is a universe na people are able to interact with one another simultaneously. Hindi yung parang, kalaban ko lang si Emil. Siya lang ang nakaka-interact ko on every episode of Raw until we have our blow-off match and we go to our different feuds afterward, diba? Na, you know, there are other people in their lives, in their workplaces, and that they're able to interact with them. And I think that's actually good every time wrestling goes in this direction. Ito, may tanong si Julian. What do you think of the crowd singing Seth's song? Because did you think that the crowd ruined the promo by singing during Finn's promo? I don't know what you think about this, Emil. So I'll let you go first before I give my 2 cents.
Honestly, for me, it made Finn's promo a little bit better because he got more angry as the crowd sang Seth's theme song even more. So they pretty much egged on him because he like it makes sense because again, Seth is the babyface, he's the beloved babyface, everyone loves him, and Finn is the heel. So okay lang yun na they egged him on, they you know parang they really sang his theme song and made Finn Balor angry, which I think made the promo even better in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that. The fact that this crowd would just keep serenading Seth Rollins, I don't think it ruined the promo at all. If anything, if you're the heel in that situation and you see how over the babyface is, it should actually light a fire in your belly to make you want to perform as best as you can. Like in this case, si Finn, he showed us how naapektuhan siya as a character nung crowd being 100% against him, and that was great. It made him even angrier and more bitter towards Seth. And it also enriched the feeling that Seth is such a babyface that everybody just adores. So I'm going to have to disagree with you, Julian. I don't think that the crowd ruined the promo at all. And Leo, I don't think you need crowd control for that because you know who's in charge of crowd control in that case? The wrestlers in the ring cutting the promo because they're the ones who are supposed to have the attention of the crowd. And I'd like to think that Seth and Finn, by association, did have the crowd wrapped around their fingers during that promo because of how over the story is and how over Seth is. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Cody Rhodes' current side quest, and we'll also cross over to NXT, and we'll see if Rose tech issues have been resolved, hoping that they are. But first, here's a quick word from our other podcasts right here on Podcast Network Asia. All right, let's see if Rose internet is finally cooperating. I hope that we were able to resolve that. What's up, Ninang Abby? Thank you for joining us here on the live stream. Eto, medyo lagi lang yung video ni Ro. Can you try speaking, please?
No. The video is pero am I here?
Yep.
Am I here
We
yet?
hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and don't mind the video. I'll fix that. Pero I'm glad to be here finally. First off, I nininig kanina, but I wanted to thank everyone who was listening to the show, to Unmasked rather. Really great to have you guys enjoy it. Kasi, I know you guys like yung chismis, pero siyempre, it's a different dynamic. It's me and someone you may not have heard before. So glad that you guys enjoy that. And we have a lot of episodes in the can already. So matagal-tagal to. We have a season of 12 episodes, and we already got through half of it. So we're gonna have a lot of seasons in the near future.
All right. Let's stick to Raw here and talk about Cody Rhodes' new side quest, and that is Dominic Mysterio. So, sabi nga natin kanina that the characters on Raw, they're all able to have simultaneous things going on. The Judgment Day being a very good example of that. They're working with Seth, some internal tension, and then you have Dom who's messing around with Cody here. So, Ro, what do you think about this side quest?
It's funny. To me, I think what Cody is doing now is a lot more interesting than if he would have won the championship nung WrestleMania from Roman Reigns. Like I wonder, could he still be doing the same shit? Maybe he could, but it's not as fun, like would he still have been feuding with Brock over the past couple of months? Maybe he could, maybe he couldn't have. You're still dealing with Roman, diba? So you never know. This is a huge tawag doon, cosign on Dominic kasi syempre the top baby face, I would assume, or the second top baby face wanting to work with you, diba? In a feud, that's high praise, the crowd still won't let him get a word in edgewise, so that's pretty cool. That shows how effective at least the storytelling has been around Dominic and Rhea, so that's pretty cool. I already like this a lot better than the Brock Lesnar thing and the broken arm thing, as you guys all know. Oh, so ngayon, mysteriously nag-heal yung broken arm niya, diba? So
no, he's still wearing the cast.
Yeah, but still, they're not as heavily focused on it. Kasi for one thing, it wasn't real.
And he can wrestle now with it, right? He just had
exactly, diba? So fuck that. So naglolokohan lang tayo this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like this. I like it a lot more for Dominic, and I like it a little bit for Cody.
Emil, can you believe that just 12 years ago we had Cody versus Rey Mysterio as a WrestleMania feud, and in the year of our Lord 2023, yung anak na ni Rey yung kalaban ni Cody.
Yeah, it's wild if you think about it. Like that just mean even though Cody just came back, he has been in the business for a really long time now, and that's when you've been in the business for a long time. Pero yung pati yung anak nung nakalaban mo dati, makakalaban mo ngayon.
Yeah, I think it kind of helps that maaga nagkaanak si Rey.
Yeah.
If it were someone like Edge, for example, whose children are very, very young, and none of us have any idea if they'll ever be in the wrestling business. So I don't think any of us can predict if one of Edge's former rivals would end up facing Lyric or Ruby. Those are his daughters, diba? So
Yeah.
it's gonna take some time until that happens. So it's a pretty cool, I guess, circumstance that we found ourselves in. Your thoughts on this side quest for the American Nightmare?
It's actually, this is the most interested I've been in Cody since probably Mania, because the Brock feud really, like, na-off ako dun sobra sa Brock feud. So I'm okay if they're
that's not over, right?
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm okay with it they're probably uh, resting Brock. Then they can continue the feud by SummerSlam. So I'm really okay with this one. Plus, for me, this elevates Dominic rather than benefits Cody. So this is a good thing. Probably Cody's gonna win the match in the feud, but the fact that Dominic is now working with the second or probably the biggest babyface in the company, that is a big stamp of approval for Dominic. They can entrust him to work with some of the top stars of the company and
All right.
make the feud be over with the people.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to NXT here. And next week, or the next couple of weeks, actually, will be NXT Gold Rush. So for week 1, the main event is going to be Seth freaking Rollins defending his World Heavyweight Championship against Braun Breaker. So last week, diba, at the end of the episode, Braun Breaker challenged Seth. Ngayon, nagpakita siya via satellite where he accepted the challenge. How do you like this bit of integration here from basically your biggest star on Raw coming back to the house he helped build in NXT? Let's start with Ro, habang okay internet niya.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, people were doubting, were they wondering, was Braun going to go up to Raw, or it proves that Seth is going down to NXT and working, lending a helping hand rather. So, I'm all for this. Mentioned Seth is really owning the fighting champion thing. I don't think Braun is moving up anytime soon after this, because obviously he's not going to win the championship from here unless they really wanted to do something crazy to him. Let's do something wild. But it's fun. It's going to be fun. And it's, I think, Braun's biggest test yet. Kaya ba niyang makipagsabayan with someone who is legit matagal na sa industriya. So, yeah, I'm totally fine with this. It it does feel like Mello is the loser in this whole thing because he's stuck with Baron Corbin. That's sad.
That's harsh.
That is
That's
harsh. I mean, I like Baron Corbin, but syempre, how did the loser between him and Braun, diba, end up with with the one of the top championships in the company while Mello gets Baron Corbin? So that's pretty fucking sad when you think about it. So things to consider when you're watching this match in a couple of weeks.
Next week na to, actually.
Next week, sorry.
Yeah. Ikaw, Emil, get your licks in.
I just thought this now. It's fitting the event is named NXT Gold Rush because the initial tournament for the NXT Championship that Seth won was called the Gold Rush Tournament. So it's so fitting. So so that was really good. That was very clever.
Word.
Very clever on their part. In terms of the match, it's a welcome sight to see Seth in NXT. I mean, again, he's presenting himself as a fighting champion, and he will defend the title literally anywhere, not just on Raw, but also on NXT. And legitimize the fact that he's a fighting champion. And like I think I said this last week, this might be a test run. Braun might not be moving up yet to the main roster, but maybe this is a test run for a possible main roster run for Braun Breaker, and if they can see if they can insert him immediately in a big time storyline and not for storyline for a title or for someone who's a top baby face. So I hope he really succeeds, and I hope they get to have a really good showing next week.
Yeah, what makes this fun for Seth Rollins fans or people who are so fixated lang on the world champion is even he is not immune from side quests. Kala mo si Cody Rhodes lang may side quest, diba? Seth literally has challengers left and right. So this is a side quest.
Can I talk about the
side
quest real quick? Yeah. Can I talk about that real quick? Because Vince never let anyone do side quests, diba? Just around this time last year, Vince was having people do weeks and weeks of the same thing for all his top guys. So he never let anyone do side quests at all. So the fact that we're here laughing about it and talking about it just goes to show how far we've come, and how advanced everything, how lame everything was under Vince. I mean, sorry, I know you can't really talk shit about the old man, but it is worth pointing out because every time you get a chance to point out the different things that are happening under the Triple H regime, you have to, because some people will just say, "Oh, but I like Vince better. I like Vince writing better." No, it wasn't good. It was just not good, and even the wrestlers themselves did not like it. So let's stop this propaganda.
Ito si Leo naghahanap ng away Bakit mo pinoprovoke si Tribal Chief, ha? Uh, Going back to the side quest thing, I just want this new development from WWE 2K. Yung My GM mode, dapat pwede na rin mag-side quest. Like, you can still be feuding with your number one contender or whoever you're feuding with, but you have to allow people to like take a break and fight someone else next week and not automatically end the feud. Diba? It's already 2023 and we're still stuck with a game mechanic where, kalaban mo na si Ro bigla.
No, to be fair, that really was a holdover from the Vince philosophy of booking a story. So I wouldn't be surprised, given the mahirap na development times for video games. Wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have time to fix all that. Although that is, when you think about it, a small change to how the gameplay is. But we don't know then what kind of work it would entail to fix that. So now, I think it's more realistic to demand it of 2K24. So sana nga, now that everyone has seen how Triple H booking works, we can do the same for the video games.
For our virtual versions of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and whatever other brand you want to create. All right, speaking of NXT, we mentioned this earlier. There's a lot of cross-brand integration going on. So you had Melo and Trick appearing on SmackDown because Melo is feuding with Baron Corbin. And then Los Lotharios, they've shown up. Of course, you have Seth going up against Braun Breaker, Dana Brooke back on NXT, Mustafa Ali also there. So they're really doing their best here to bring NXT up to the level of the main roster by having these main roster talents come back to NXT and give them that boost. So what do you think about this cross-brand integration here?
This is good for NXT kasi I mean, before in the Black and Gold era, they were really trying to make NXT the third brand. And then nawala yon, they went back to being a purely developmental, where it's just simply the new recruits and some indie guys in there. But now that we are in this new era of NXT, they're slowly integrating back NXT into being that third brand, and which is good because the wrestlers from NXT, these new guys, they will get to work with the veterans of the business. And some people who need some reset or a refresh can go down to NXT and do their character work there. So it's a win-win situation for both main roster and NXT, in my opinion.
Okay, Emil, I have a question for you as a baller. I don't disagree with you actually, but I have a question for you. Let's say you were playing for a professional NBA team.
Yeah.
And then they said, "Oh, we don't have the minutes for you because we're trying out, giving minutes to the younger kids that we drafted. So what we'll do is you're a superstar, but we'll send you to the G League, and we'll have you play for our G League affiliate." How would you react? How would you if it means that you will dominate in the G League and win the championship eventually? So how would you take this directive from your front office?
If it's if kung may purpose yon, then I'm okay with it. Kasi
your purpose lang is we're trying out a rotation where the younger guys have
you're Russell Westbrook on the Clippers.
Okay.
And we can't find minutes for you, Russ. So we're gonna send you down to our G League affiliate.
Siyempre, kung like if I'm a max player, then yun yung sinabi sa akin, medyo paano ko na kung bakit? Kasi like you're paying me all this money and then you're gonna prioritize.
You can't find me minutes.
Yeah, you can't find me minutes. Pero like nangyari na before actually. No, not naman na superstar, pero like
no, I mean you're not ass. You're not ass or anything, but they can't find you minutes because let's say the rookies are doing better.
Yeah, no, okay. So to clarify things, this setup actually does happen in the NBA, but for
Yeah.
two-way players. Diba? If you have a
Yeah.
contract that states na you can be sent to the G League affiliate anytime. So this actually works. But what Ro is asking for the people who might be confused
Superstar.
is if you're like Jason Tatum on the Celtics and then you go down to the main Celtics. So MAINE Celtics.
Parang
So
challenge ka ng G League player to
Side
come
quest.
down and play. To come down and play against them because well, ikaw yung champion eh. Let's say a G League player challenged Nikola Jokic to come down and play in the G League.
this is one of those sports things that will only really work in wrestling when you think
Yeah.
about it.
Yep. Only work in wrestling. Kasi in sports, the best players are always on the best leagues. So hindi siya sa wrestling na you get some of the guys are gonna be in NXT helping down the talent down there. So veteran siguro, yeah, I could get. Pero yung mga main superstars, you don't get them playing for the G League.
And then
No,
for
no.
some reason Nikola Jokic has a love of the game clause and this says he can play in the G League because some scrub challenged him.
Joke's on all of us. He wants to go back to Serbia yesterday.
Yeah. He wants to go home.
Oh, wants to
But
go
yeah,
home.
I'm thinking going back. I that was a fun little sidetrack that I just thought of just now. Tawag na, what was the question again?
Do you like
Talking about
the
yung
integration?
cross brand thing? The cross brand thing, yeah. This works, yes, in wrestling, kasi you not like in actual sports where you do have to make the most of your minutes and you do have to give minutes to your best performing guys. This helps then kasi you are in our analogy with the G League. In this case, in WWE's case, you are like trying to promote the G League team as somewhat close to the major league field, diba? So like a major league field. So because it does happen that way, I do like the fact that they are sending down guys like Ali, guys like Baron Corbin and Los Lotharios and Seth Rollins even. Diba? So that's pretty cool. If it means the developmental brand is going to look like a legit third brand the way Triple H envisioned it almost a decade ago, then by all means, that's pretty cool. And I think that would help give the young talents that might not have experienced a crowd bigger than the Capitol Wrestling Center, that kind of exposure to the kind of crowds that will sing you off the ring.
Yeah. Just to dig deeper into the business side of things here, I don't think it's a coincidence na nangyayari to ngayon, right? As reports came out that WWE's exclusivity with NBC, Universal, and Fox has ended. So what this means is that the TV deals haven't run out. They're still on until 2024. Pero yung pagka-exclusive ng pag-negotiate has already expired, which means that WWE can actually approach other content providers or platforms or networks to buy the content distribution rights for 2024 and beyond.
Yeah, it's too early to comment on it actually, because what it really just meant is that yung window for tawag doon, for Fox and USA's right to first refusal has passed. So sorry, that's not the same concept, but it's similar. So hindi na lang sila yung hindi na sila yung only people in play for WWE. So that's what it essentially means. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean just yet rather that WWE is or has found someone else to work with. But it just means that they're now open for other people. So it is actually too early to comment on it. So if it does go to Disney or something, I don't know if that means we'll get more content on Disney Plus here, but sana hopefully that would be the case, right?
Yeah. I just want more WWE content that I can access anytime. That's all I can ask for. All right, let's get to some rumor talk here, some chatter from the NXT side of things. We're seeing from yung mga reports on Twitter and online that there could be some more call-ups. Yung mga names na pinag-uusapan are sina Ilya Dragunov, Braun Breaker, but based on the way that they're being booked on NXT, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And then there's also some chatter about NXT championships, plural, not singular, being defended at SummerSlam. And I think for as big of a platform as SummerSlam, I think it has to be the NXT men's and women's championships.
Yeah. Hindi ko lang alam, like, if you put this on SummerSlam, it's still pretty early in those talks. But if you put these two championships at SummerSlam, how long is this show gonna be? Diba? Like, are you gonna do 2 nights, like WrestleMania, or are we gonna run like an old Mania where it's like 6 or 7 hours to 5 to 6 hours, which hopefully not. To go to 5 hours max, but hopefully not, right? I'm all for it because I do think that the bigger crowd needs to be exposed to the NXT champions, whether they like it or not, and whether the crowd likes it or not. The casuals, because I need to see more. This ties back into what we were saying just earlier. Na, NXT is being primed to be a third brand, so that's pretty cool. Syempre, para hindi na lang siya hidden secret for among just us who only watch NXT programming. So I hope that happens, but I hope that they are smart about it. Because if you put NXT matches on the card, you will have to cut other main roster matches off of it. So that's going to be a weird balance thing that I hope they find a way to do. Because it's too late now to announce that SummerSlam is 2 nights. So that's not going to happen.
Yeah, SummerSlam is less than 2 months away. Ikaw, Emil, if you had your say on which NXT talent or championships you'd like to be featured on SummerSlam, like will you give them 1 match, 2 matches?
1 to 2 matches. Again, just both the major championships. Pero naisip ko din, like, there were rumors din na nabasa ko na they're trying to unify the women's and the NXT Tag Team Championships. So maybe will also
No, that's
happen.
not a rumor. That's actually happening on SmackDown. There was an actual challenge from Ronda and Shayna against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn.
Yeah, pero yun, maybe the main championships, and you probably have to put your biggest stars in there if you're gonna feature the brand at SummerSlam. So probably
Melo versus Baron Corbin at SummerSlam.
No,
that's the NXT Championship feud.
No, like run it back with Melo versus Braun because they're the 2 biggest stars there. And for the women's, probably Tiffany versus, I don't know, maybe Roxanne or maybe Cora. So it has to be the biggest stars in that brand for it to work for me.
Mm-hmm. All right. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll cross over naman to AEW and we'll set our expectations for a huge weekend for Tony Khan and the rest of his troops. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts right here on Podcast Network Asia. Right. Did I cut you off earlier, Ro? Did you want to add something to yung NXT rumor?
I thought I was also going to talk about the unification, but okay lang naman. I just wanted to say that I don't really quite agree with it, but if the plan was for the original main roster women's tag team championships to have been traveling across the main roster in NXT, then wala tayong magagawa. Wala akong magagawa dyan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually the spirit of the women's tag team championships when they were established in 2019. So I guess we're going back there now. All right, let's talk about AEW and let us set our expectations for Collision, which is happening on Father's Day. That's Sunday, June 18, Manila time. And we saw CM Punk back on TV in his first televised promo since Brawl Out. So I'm going to start with you, Emil. Your expectations for this brand new show that is reportedly being built around CM Punk.
Honestly, I have no expectations for the first episode. Because for me, they're just simply stacking up the card with big names, big matches, hoping to score a huge rating in their pilot. So I don't really expect anything long term, in this first episode. So they're just having the best matches possible, pero as I also said before, it's also crucial na this show has a different feel and different atmosphere to make it distinct over Dynamite. Kasi sabi ko before, if it's the same show, then it just might end up as being another Rampage. So this is gonna be a crucial crucial week for TK. He has to make sure that Collision work, because if it isn't, then masasayang lang yung investment niya with this new show.
I wanted to ask Emil, what exactly is your definition of a different AEW show? Different
Like,
feel.
I was gonna ask
different
the same
set, different pacing to how the matches go, different set of wrestlers, which pero hindi pa yun nangyayari ngayon, yung brand split, wala pang brand split as of this moment. But gusto ko lang yung maiba. I don't want it to just be like another AEW show. You know what I mean?
So the typical AEW show kasi is it's pretty good wrestling. Like you cannot deny that it's good wrestling, but not everyone kasi looks for good wrestling. So that's what's hard about it. So given that, that's why I was trying to ask you, what exactly is a different feeling AEW show for you? Because I don't know how else they can differentiate that outside of a hard brand split.
Yeah, maybe the first week wala di pa siya magiging super distinct from Dynamite, because again they're using the same people.
If Dynamite is the big wrestling show with all the marquee matchups with lately, because they've been really doing some great matches. Yeah. What exactly did you want Collision to be? Like, do you want it to be the Raw of its to the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era SmackDown of Dynamite? Nah, it's all promos, it's all story, it's all segments.
Yeah, probably again, brand split has to be a key here, and yeah, I kind of agree with you. It kung Dynamite is wrestling heavy, I want this one to be more storyline driven. I think if for it to be different.
Okay. That's fair. My thing lang is so I saw the CM Punk vignette, diba, that they aired.
Yeah.
I saw
he has a lot to get off his chest, sabi niya.
Yeah. Red flag na yun for me, kasi he said that he doesn't know what he's gonna say. That's the fucking bad part. You have to tell CM Punk what he has to say, what he's gonna say. How we got to this entire problem is because you didn't impose yourself on what CM Punk could say. Yes, CM Punk talking off his chest or off the top of his head is exactly why you hired CM Punk, diba? Pero given the recent problems that we had with CM Punk, that was the last thing that I needed to hear from CM Punk. Give him a fucking outline, give him bullet points, tell him to not, give him a do's and don'ts list of what not to say. No, I don't want to hear the words, I don't know what I'm going to say about CM Punk. That's like a surefire way to send everyone into a train wreck again, diba? Especially if he's kung masama gising niya sa araw na yun, diba?
With a live mic. It's a live show, by the way,
in Chicago of all places, diba? So he knows that he can say anything he wants in Chicago and people will eat it up, diba? So Dedix pa yun. So that's the part I didn't like about the promotion of CM Punk's comeback. So that's not good at all. So I mean, obviously that might what I'm afraid of might not happen. I'm just saying that the possibility is now there because he acknowledged that he has no plans, he has no script. So that means Tony Khan has no notes for him as well. Yun lang naman. That's my expectation.
And that Rome rant was brought to you by Philip Jack Brooks. Si Ina, sabi niya, sana mag-sorry man lang daw or public apology. What do you think the chances are? What's the wonder on public apology happening?
Exactly.
That's not going to happen. Probably that's not going to happen for me.
I mean, diba? I mean, like, if you wanted to stay in AEW, then Tony Khan could... He would literally listen to whatever Tony Khan wanted him to do. Diba? If his heart was so set in working for AEW and making money there, then may leverage Tony Khan dun. I can do whatever I want you to do, diba? Kasi you need me more than I need you. Well, that might not be true, but given by the reaction of people who a lot still want CM Punk back, as it seems, but if I were the boss, I would have a bigger I have a bigger right to restrict you. And if you don't like that, then you can walk.
Kaso, hindi pa raw siya nakakapag-ROI. So, mahirap yun.
Yeah.
Yun lang.
Yeah.
Sticking with the expectations here, medyo lost under the shuffle of all of the CM Punk talk is the fact that Andrade is coming back. He's got a match against Buddy Matthews on Collision. So what do you think about this one?
Okay. Did it fly over everyone's head? Did people catch what Tony Khan was trying to do here? Because it's Rhea versus Rhea versus Charlotte. So it's now Buddy Matthews versus Andrade. So I guess that's the joke that he was trying to pull on everyone. Andrade being back, I'm just happy he's back because he got injured, but he was priming for a decent run before he got injured, and then everything happened. So
yeah, issues with management.
The joke, I guess, is also part of the draw. Like, let's tune in because the two boyfriends are gonna fight. That's the punchline.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I just hope Andrade stays healthy this time, and he is much more cooperative with creative, because that was probably one of the main reasons he was out for a long time. They were trying to give him something, doesn't want to work. So I really do hope everything is okay this time with him. And now there's another show for him to work on. I hope he appears often than he did last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah. I just want to be so quick to assume na siya yung hindi cooperative in this situation kasi wala namang masyadong reports na siya yung nag-aalsa. I don't know maybe you guys have read differently. But I just
it seems like Andrade has been pretty quiet about the whole thing. Like, I think talaga na Tony Khan didn't have much for him, and then he just got injured. And nung time na he did have something going on with LFI.
Right. So I wouldn't go out and say agad na, he better be cooperative this time around. I'd just be careful about that. All right, let's stick with AEW here. Some Forbidden Door talk. We got Hiroshi Tanahashi challenging MJF for the AEW World Championship. That is now official. And you've got Sanada, the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, issuing an open challenge, which was answered by Jungle Boy Jack Perry. So, we've got 4 matches for Forbidden Door. And are these World Championship matches doing anything for you guys?
It adds something to the card, yeah, definitely. Kasi we already have the 2 major matches announced. So we already have the 2 main events. So this one, okay lang na si Jungle Boy yung nag-accept, and we're gonna get this match. Because I don't expect this to be one of the marquee matchups, but low-key, this could be a sleeper for a match of the night.
I really like the idea of MJF Tanahashi. I think both guys are closer than some people might realize. MJF doesn't really prefer the super crazy indie style that Paul London has come to hate. So he's pretty firmly in a lot of the old school stuff. So I think he and Tanahashi, who has, he's not the same guy he was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. So I think they're gonna. I don't know how limited or otherwise Tanahashi's gonna be here, but I think there is space for them to really find some chemistry that we may not know of. So I hope that happens. Sanada versus Jack Perry. It doesn't get me going. But maybe because it's a match that they pulled out of thin air. Then I love Jungle Boy. I love him. I love watching him work. I think they're also pretty close to each other when it comes to style. But this is one of those things, it's not at the top of the the NJPW versus AEW dream match scenario. But it could be good. I'm not discounting that it's going to be good, but it's not like the most must see matchup from the card.
Mm-hmm. I'm just really excited to see the Just 5 Guys intro and the entrance and everything. Just because, everything about Just 5 Guys is just silly and in like the best way. So I'm glad that the AEW crowd will at least get to see them do their thing, if not just Sanada alone.
Labanan pala to ng mga pogi. Kasi Sanada's really a good-looking guy, and Jungle Boy is also probably one of the heartthrobs of AEW, so it should be good.
I mean, his
handsome
dad
battle
is Luke Perry. So.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Yeah. Eto, sina Aaron and Glendale already marking out. So what? You already die. See, that's the silliness of just five guys in a nutshell. Right, let's close things out here on the live stream part. Yes, my audio only tayo. By talking about Chris Jericho versus Sting, which they appear to have set up already on Dynamite earlier. So Chris Jericho has previously said he doesn't seem to be interested in a match against Sting, and yet here we are. They already set up this Darby Allin and Sting confrontation with the Sex Gods, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Na meron ding tension in between these two members of the JAS. So in terms of the juggling of it all, I like this. Na these are simultaneous storylines all happening at the same time, and that they bleed into one another very well. The idea of Chris Jericho and Sting facing each other in at this point in time, though, I'm not so sure what I think about this one. So I'm gonna let you guys go first.
Actually, I'm not sure if because it was too close to that tweet about that guy tweeting at Jericho and okay, would you want to do a match with Sting, and then the other NWO guys, and he said he wasn't interested. I wasn't sure. Was this story a reaction to that tweet, or was that tweet like a prediction of the story happening?
Baka wino-work pala tayo, no?
Yeah.
So it's pretty strange, and I'm not sure I want it because it is 30 years after WCW, diba? So I'm not sure what this is gonna do for me, other than the fact that it could elevate the young teams in this equation. So the young guys rather in this equation, the two of the four pillars, the so-called four pillars. So I don't know. I don't know if Jericho and Sting need to give them any gravitas. I think they could have just worked yung Sammy versus Darby Allin thing by themselves and see how that could have been explored by the creative ng AEW. But maybe they did it for the historic pop, the historic the record book thing. So wala rin tayong magagawa dyan.
Before you get your thoughts in, Emil, sabi ni Ina, akala ko ba si Darby ang magiging last opponent ni Sting? I don't think if ever matuloy itong Jericho-Sting match, I don't think that's Sting's last match. Kasi if he has said na Darby Allin, he wants Darby Allin as his final opponent, which I think he put in the Players Tribune article, that's probably gonna happen. So I don't think we're getting Sting's retirement match just yet.
Yeah.
Sige, Emil, go.
I just want the younger guys to have the spotlight in this feud rather than rather than Jericho and Sting. Because Sting's run has really worked well because he has just been in the background of most of the feuds that Darby is in. So he worked. Yung role niya really fits him well in AEW, and I don't want him to be in the spotlight, like be in the main feud. And I just wish this is a Darby versus Sammy feud with them on the background rather than a Jericho versus Sting feud. But I would be okay with a Jericho versus Sting match. I mean, it's something that they were in WCW all those times and they never faced off in a match. So why not?
Yeah, you know why? Because Chris Jericho was in the cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
Yep. He was. That he was.
The question from Glendale. Ro, your thoughts on the Sammy and Y2J tension?
It's nice. I actually like the idea of it because now the Sammy was kind of leaning toward being a face, diba? So that's character development for him, I would say. But we were complaining about how he seemingly disappeared from JAS, and apparently they still have history. Of course, they have history because they never really outright kicked him out. It's just that they were doing something different while he was doing something different when he was chasing for the championship. So, sometimes they do these things that make sense, and they do lead toward a satisfying finish. So I like this. I want to see where it goes, and I hope that it's the story that really elevates Sammy as a player because the four pillar story didn't do that for him.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. random di ba? Biglang, oy, babyface na pala tong si Sammy Guevara after he tried to conspire with MJF and said na, oh, I'm gonna take your money, I'm gonna lie down. So it's good that Chris Jericho actually put the effort in to point out what the audience has been pointing out na, oh, you were in the World Championship storyline, di mo ako tinawagan. And then Sammy was like, ikaw, kalaban mo si Adam Cole, di mo rin ako tinawagan. So, at least there was effort to acknowledge na, oh nga, they were kind of out of each other's universes while the Double or Nothing build was happening.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jericho was the guy to suggest that, because he, for all his faults and flaws, he does have a mind for storytelling. And I wanted to say that AEW does that all the time, but they don't do that all the time. Like, they still haven't explained completely why Bryan Danielson turned after losing to MJF. So they don't explain everything, but some people do have it in their heads to explain something. So when this does happen, you love to see it.
For those of you who are catching this on the audio-only version, this is where the bonus conversations come in. So let's talk about Bray Wyatt, because meron bali-balita that he might be returning soon. And Ro, I know that you're not the biggest fan of Bray Wyatt, especially this current run. So I'll start with Emil, and I'll ask you, is this doing anything for you as a fan?
Honestly, no. Again, indifferent now kay Bray, because his last one, I don't know if it was the fault of creative or was anything, but just didn't work. And yung mga mystical stuff, I just don't like it in wrestling. Pero his run was really bad in my opinion, and hindi kawalan sa akin if he's not gonna come back. Pero okay naman ako if he wants to come back. So if he wants to wrestle again, then as he should. Pero in terms of me being interested in it, I'm not so high right now on Bray Wyatt possible return.
Yeah, you mentioned you were wondering what it was about. At first I thought it was Vince's meddling that made it bad, but now that we had Bray Wyatt outside of Vince's meddling, the problem really is him. I don't want to say that he isn't a creative genius, because the guy can really think of some good stuff. The problem with the good stuff that he's thinking of, though, is that it's just not made for pro wrestling. Like, I feel like he wants to write a movie or a TV show, a horror, and maybe that's his thing. Diba? Maybe he likes psychological or supernatural horror, and it just does not translate to the pro wrestling medium. Diba? Like, he's trying to marry two different interests, and he's not brilliant enough to find a way to make that work. So I don't know if it will be solved by the current creative trying to do something he wants, or I know it's going to be solved by creative dictating what they want him to do. But I think anything that involves what he wants to do is gonna miss if it's not the original Bray Wyatt character for me. That's my take on it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Weird kasi yung the Pitch Black match. I think everyone generally has the same opinion that it didn't land as well as as well as people would have liked it to. The only positive is both Bray and LA Knight got their bag. Diba? The fact that it was a Royal Rumble match, or at the Royal Rumble PLE, and it was Mountain Dew sponsored. But man, I just wish that the Pitch Black match led to something more. Medyo unfortunate then that Bray got injured and that they were setting something up between him and Bobby Lashley for WrestleMania, tapos naudlot siya. So I just hope that things work out, because I think Bray Wyatt is a star pa rin naman, and I also think that he can be an asset to WWE or any company he'll be a part of. I just want to see something where they're firing on all cylinders. Yun lang, kasi nasasayangan ako eh.
I felt like before he left, the Firefly Funhouse stuff was good. It wasn't bad.
I agree.
It's just that I felt like his current run was like a revenge tour for against the people who wanted to water down what he wanted to do. And then because of that, it veered toward it veered toward a direction that no one else could really understand. Parang nawala na talaga siya in his intended complexity.
Teka lang, let me ask you this, bro.
Yeah.
You said that the Firefly Funhouse was good stuff, and I agree 100%. But did you think that the loss to Goldberg killed The Fiend? Kasi the Fiend
for
and
sure,
the
for
Firefly
sure.
Funhouse, they worked hand in hand, diba? And when Bray was still feuding with Braun over the Universal Championship, the Firefly Funhouse gimmick was still a thing. So did you think that, the Goldberg thing, had it not happened, it would have contributed greatly to an improved Bray Wyatt run?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't have had to take revenge against how Vince booked him. I do think that the Goldberg thing destroyed his mystique, and maybe he was angry about that. Who knows? So, yun nga eh, parang everything was like a revenge thing. Because you fucked with me, I'll fuck with everyone, and nobody loses except for whatever weird creative vision I happen to have in my head that I can't translate to, what anyone else could understand.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Emil, any thoughts on Bray before we move on?
Again, just same thoughts. Like, if he wants to come back, okay, but I'm not going to be super much interested in what he does.
All right. Let's move on to more WWE talk right here. There have been rumors going around for weeks that there could be a heel turn for Bianca Belair and the Street Profits. And Ro, you were dipping in and out of the stream kanina when I said na maybe Charlotte Flair inserting herself right into the title picture after a 2-month absence could be the catalyst for a very incensed Bianca Belair to turn heel.
Yeah, if I were Bianca, I would be pissed by the fact that nothing is being served up to me that I can chew on as a performer, as an actress, diba? So parang everything was just her being dominant as a champion, diba? So people like to complain about why Cody Rhodes needs the adversity, and it's characters like Bianca Belair and Braun Breaker when he was a face that prove why just winning everything nonstop isn't a recipe for success. So this is all good. I want to see again the kind of depth that Bianca Belair and the Street Profits can bring in as heels, so that they're no longer catchphrase machines and merong something to the kind of characters that they portray in the WWE story.
Yeah, Montez Ford has never been heel. See, Bianca, she was a heel throughout her and
the Street
NXT
Profits
run.
debuted as heels in NXT.
Did they ba?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. They did.
Wow, I don't remember that. That must have been so long ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
They got over. Kaya they turned face.
Okay. So yeah, I don't remember that at all. Thanks for pointing that out. So I actually want this to happen just because I think we could be building some new stars as baby faces of women's division. So moving Bianca over to the heel side will freshen things up. And then the Street Profits could also benefit from that edge that the Usos got when they turned heel during the feud with the New Day in 2017.
Definitely. With Bianca, there's now a clear motive for her to turn heel, but
no clear motive. I just laid it out.
I said
a championship match.
There is a. I said
there is a. Okay.
With the Profits, so I'm still interested on how are they gonna turn them heel, because they hindi pa sila binubuo and they're still one of the most over acts in the company. So, but probably turning heel will lead them to possibly challenging for the tag team title. So, I'm gonna be okay with it, pero I'll miss the Profits being like super over as baby faces, because they're one of my favorite acts in the company, and yun kasi for me hindi pa sila stale, but I can see why some people are clamoring for them to turn heel, because they have been baby faces for such a long time now, and I'm interested to see how is this gonna turn out.
Let me ask you both, because the Street Profits have been the subject of rumors for quite some time now. So the first rumors were that they were going to split up Docs and Teds, and then now you've got the heel turn rumors. So which one would you rather see happening, a split or a heel turn?
Heel turn. I don't
Heel
want.
turn.
I don't like tag team splitting because especially when you work so well together. Like that was such a Vince thing to do because Vince wanted to create single stars. But
Yeah.
the WrestleMania we just had proved that there is a market for a strong tag team, diba? So more than anything, because we were deprived of such legendary, big legendary runs from tag teams, I wanted to see more people find success together than having to be broken apart and see which of you will become the bigger star. Diba? I'm so done with that trope. Yeah, I'm so done with that trope.
Ikaw, Emil, heel turn din.
Heel turn, yeah. Also, same reasons as Ro here. Kasi splitting up tag teams has always been a Vince's thing, and I don't like it kasi more often one guy gets over and the other guy doesn't.
The other guy gets. It's a competition, diba? Like one guy doesn't get over because the other guy eventually gets pushed. Somebody has to win. So the person who doesn't get over gets tossed aside. I mean, look at poor Tucker, diba? He got cast aside and he was the one who split. So it's just sad to see people get discarded that way because somebody wanted to make one person a star. So I'm really glad that the New Day stuck to their guns and stood their ground. And refused to be split up.
Even if they were drafted to like separate
shows. And they must split that wasn't them, We'll have you guys turn on each other and then we'll have you guys compete among each other to see who's gonna get the most over.
You know what's the saddest part of the Tucker thing, which I was actually thinking of as well? Otis is back in a tag team.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. Otis is back in the character that Tucker was mad about, diba? So
wala ring nangyari. So.
And also, Chad Gable was from another tag team, and now he's.
And to be fair, Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan did get injured, so
and had to retire. So,
but like they split them up by having Jason Jordan be in a different storyline, diba?
No, yes, because they split them apart by putting them on different shows.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But at least somebody had to, we'll feud against each other, and
American
somebody
Alpha
will.
Didn't fight.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
All right, last bit of discussion here for the audio-only part. Let's talk about the Bloodline. And it's kind of weird to be putting the Bloodline on the audio-only part. But people have been talking about this online na Bloodline Cinema, great. Bloodline Cinema every week, not so great. So that's what the haters are saying. So let me ask you guys this. It's too much.
Yeah, it's too much because, people are apparently tired of, having to watch the drama play out every week, diba? So I'm fine with it because it's like, how is it any different from binging your favorite Netflix show na
exactly.
you can't stop watching because it's just that good. Yun nga, it's even better than a Netflix binge because at least you don't have to saturate yourself in one go. So what happened to the art of watching TV every week and watching the same stuff on TV every week?
And I don't understand cliffhangers, diba? Yeah. I don't get it. Why are people hating on it? Like, people have been saying now, we want long-term storytelling, we want character development and all of that stuff. And over the last half year, we got all of that from all the members of the Bloodline. Well, except for Roman Reigns, because Roman is Roman. But we got that from every other member of the Bloodline. So how is this a bad thing? I don't understand.
Some people say, sorry, go ahead, Emil. Go ahead.
Saka, diba, it wasn't a while ago when people were complaining na the Bloodline story has gotten stale because there hasn't been any anything drama related na nangyari after WrestleMania until siguro Night of Champions. So now we're getting it. We're continuing this storyline and people are still complaining that it's too much. I don't get what do you people want?
Yeah, well, it's like what Paul London said to us, diba? Na people don't know what they want. You give them what they think they want, and then they don't like it. And then when you don't give them what they think, or when you don't give that to them, they ask for it back. Diba? So nobody really knows what they want. And that's, to me, as a performer, that's one of the most frustrating things about wrestling, especially of wrestling that we see every week on TV. So that's the worst part. So that's why I don't take stock in fans' opinions anymore, because a lot of it is really just terrible feedback, diba? You're entitled to your feedback, but that doesn't make it sensible or
correct.
or correct, diba? So
The worst
it's just
part is
sad.
these people probably aren't even watching week to week.
Yun nga.
Yeah.
No, but I would say that some people are, because some people do make fun of the fact that it's Jay and Sammy every week before WrestleMania or before Night of Champions or whatever, right? Before Backlash, it was Roman and Sammy every week before WrestleMania, whatever have you. It's just really, I think, I don't know. It's also because maybe Vince has ruined the brains of people watching, because he didn't really have it in him to tell this kind of long-term story back when he was in charge. But we're getting an unprecedented level of creative as WWE fans, and I don't understand why there's still backlash against it. Like, okay, as someone who can get umay easily, I understand why it could be a bad thing, why you might not want to see this happening every week. I do kind of feel it sometimes, but I would much rather have this than Vince literally repeating matches every week without actual development until he gets to the pay-per-view week, diba? So that's even worse. Like, people just hate it because we've been seeing the same 3 or 4 or 5 people main event a SmackDown every week for the past at least half a year. So that's the part that they don't like. But still, I would much rather have this and see the effort that they've been putting in. Everyone involved has been putting in creatively than to go through, wishy-washy Vince nonsensical story.
The worst part is, with all of this complaining, feeling ko some years down the road, people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, everything that happened with the Bloodline was the best thing of the 2020s."
Oh yeah,
definitely. That will happen.
Romanticize siya ng mga fans of the next decade, diba? So parang, can't we just appreciate what we're getting now while we have it, diba? How often do we get in our lifetime someone who's been champion for 1,000 days and someone who's like an actual gaslighter who's being called out by the enlightened one, diba? So, jeez. All right, that's it. We're going to step off our soapbox. That's going to end the audio-only part of this week's live stream. Thank you so much to everybody who caught it, whether it was live or on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. And as always, you can hit us up at Wrestling2XPod on TikTok and Twitter if you want to be part of the conversation. Let's get to some plugs before we get out of here. First off, part 2 of the Paul London and Carlo Cannon interview is coming up. That's dropping tomorrow or probably over the weekend. You'll hear about how the trip to Manila left a permanent scar on Paul London's chin. And you'll also get to hear Rowan Camacho's award-winning question about a very, very memorable acting choice from Paul London. So there, you'll get to hear that in the second part of that huge interview. We've also told you about the Patreon stuff, so I'm gonna ask Emil here. Now that the NBA finals are over, what's gonna be on your Twitter feed?
Yeah, you can just follow me on Twitter at @Meister. Now that the NBA is over, probably I'm gonna go back to purely watching wrestling. So there.
I mean,
just follow me on my Twitter.
It is summer, so I know the US.
Yeah,
all your
it's the
sports
only
are,
sport remaining.
Yeah, only wrestling.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ro, any plugs?
Yeah, if you still haven't listened to Unmasked, my podcast, the first episode is up. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I think wherever you get your podcast, but I think you're mostly on Spotify or Apple. So please find that. The full name is Unmasked: The Chronicles of Romaran and Sandata. The first episode is up. Talks about where I am right now for people who have been wondering when am I gonna come back, or if I'm gonna come back at all to actively wrestling. I explain a few things, and next week I'll plug this again next week, but next week we'll start on the start of the journey, which is when I started training in 2014. So yun, subscribe to Manila Wrestling Federation on Gank. Please support local wrestling, and please support what we do, because I realize that if you don't subscribe to Gank or you don't watch the the matches we put out on social media. You don't actually get to hear the work we put in. So please do that. ManilaWrestling.com. It's $10 or around 600 pesos for the monthly subscription. You can pay via debit card, credit card, or PayPal, or GCash rather. So maraming options. If you can support, please do. It will mean a lot to us, especially if you enjoy our work. And follow us on TikTok. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sana sa next show, marami na nagpapapicture sa'yo. Yes, I heard this story.
Dude, I have so much to say about that, which we don't have time for, but I do have a crazy observation about that. But anyway, so yeah, I'll tell you off air. But again, also follow us on TikTok at Wrestling2XPod, because we are posting some exclusive social media only content from our Paul London interview.
Emil, mag-subscribe ka na rin sa gang. Total, nasa naga ka pa naman.
Yeah, I mean, you're not you're gonna be at the next couple of shows, diba?
Yeah,
might as well.
Probably this weekend. I'll catch him.
Sure. On my end, just wanna promote yung individual social media feeds namin. You know, Emil's for Rhodes at Rhodes War, for Chino it's at Chino Supersized, at Monday Night Rowan for Rowan ASH, and for me it is at _Stan C. Thank you so much to babyface producer Jasper at the controls and everybody over at Podcast Network Asia, some of whom we got to meet and see in real life for the first time this past week, although not in the best circumstances. Kind of unfortunate that it had to happen that way. So just once again, before we end the live stream, just want to tell everybody who's still on the live stream that we lost one of our co-founders, the late great attorney Joseph Acuña, who was very influential towards everything you see and hear from the Wrestling podcast over the last few years, especially itong live stream component that we've worked so hard to really build since the pandemic hit. So we're going to miss him a lot, and we have so much gratitude in our hearts for everything that he brought to our show and the entire network. So once again, thank you so much, Joseph. Rest in peace,
Thank you, Joseph.
All right, we're out of here. On behalf of Emil ASH and Romoran, my name is Stan C. We'll catch you again on the audio-only episodes next week. Remember to stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. All right? Wrestling Podcast out. Bye-bye.
Peace.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia, the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization,